Hello and welcome. My name is Roman. This is a fleet planner video for scaffold operators, ABC of operator licensing. Okay, so operator license is what you need when you operate heavy goods vehicle that is about 3.5 ton in gross plated weight. Okay, so essentially your 3.5 ton van does not come in scope of all license, but anything heavier than that most likely is. Okay, just a point here that if you drive only a 3.5 ton vehicle and then you constantly keep overloading it, it doesn't mean that you need to apply for operator license. It simply means that you're overloading a vehicle, and then you need to consider getting something bigger and apply for the O license. Okay, so I'll focus on the operator license undertakings, okay, in this video. Operator license undertakings are the undertakings that you took on when you applied for the operator license, and you need to stick to it. Okay, they are not optional, they are absolute must, and if you don't follow them, then you're likely to operate unsafely, and you're likely to lose the operator license if you get caught, and then you can't produce the required evidence. Okay, so where do you find them? They are at the bottom of your operator license document. They are listed there, so please make sure you read them. Okay, I'll cover some of them in this video, so I hope you'll find it useful. Okay, I'll try to keep it brief and short, so you'll probably need to investigate a little bit more into it if you're not familiar with that. But please take it seriously, because if you find some stuff in this video that you find that you're not doing, then obviously you need to rectify that. Okay, so to the point, you need to keep your vehicles in a roadworthy condition on the road. Okay, that means you need to have your MOT as a minimum. You need to have your vehicles inspected, okay, on a regular basis. So when you applied for the O license, you actually committed to vehicle inspections. Okay, that means you said you would send it to workshop on a 6-8 weekly basis or other frequency, but it is stated on the operator license. These days you can log on to Traffic Commissioner's website and actually find the login for your operator license and check what you've declared if you can't remember. Okay, but and you can change it if you find if you think that you need to do it more frequently or less frequently, but make sure you can justify that. Okay, essentially that needs to be planned. Okay, you need to have at least 6 months of maintenance planner. You can do it Excel spreadsheet, you can do it wall planner, you can do it online. Okay, obviously these days it makes sense to do it online. It's simpler, but you can simply just put your dates in the calendar, and then that will suffice. Okay, so your MOT needs to be planned, your inspections every 6 weeks, and your tacho calibration, any additional equipment, your it's worth to put vehicle insurance, vehicle tax on it. If you do your tire checks, I mean, obviously the drivers need to check tires on a daily basis, but if you've got someone coming on a regular basis to check your tires, it's worth putting that on there as well. Okay, so then when the inspection is due, then it needs to happen. You can't do it week after or 2 weeks after and then pretend nothing happened. You know, once you've declared that you will stick to it, you need to do it. Okay, so it's not optional to keep it on a sort of irregular basis. If you've committed to 6 weekly inspections, please make sure they are done on the 6 weeks, not on 7 or 8 weeks. Okay, because if you fail to do that, you are in breach of operator license undertakings. As simple as that. Okay, then what's the vehicle inspection? It's simply just the workshop that you've chosen. They simply just perform a mini MOT on that. So they simply just go through the same check as the vehicle inspector that does MOT for you. Okay, and then you get a feedback in the form of of the inspection report. Okay, you need to have a look at that, read that, and then make sure that it is not there's all the defects that were identified are rectified. So if the inspection comes back and says, well, you've got two flats or two tires on it with below the legal limit on the thread, then you can't just go back driving with that vehicle. That means it's illegal, and you're likely to cause danger to other road users. Okay, that these tires need to be changed, and before you take this vehicle out on the road again. Sorry. So what happens then? You need to keep records. You need to keep these documents for 15 months on your files. Okay. Again, you can keep it hard copy, paper in a ring file, or you can simply just have an online version of that. So if you were given paper copy, you can scan these documents, take photos of that, but you've got to have records for 15 months. Okay, it's not optional. Okay. So same thing applies for any equipment on a health and safety basis. So if you've got any cranes, any tire lifts, they need to be separately inspected as well. Okay, so make sure you look into that as well. Right. Next thing is your vehicle checks. So any vehicle that is used need to be checked ideally by the driver before it's used. Okay, so what you do is you can get the previous vehicle checkbook and then get them to write down all the there's a tick list, and then go through around the vehicle and and simply record all the defects that they see, and make sure that they actually report those defects to you as well verbally. Okay, because it's no good just writing it on paper and then not telling anyone and keep driving the vehicle, because you've not achieved anything really apart from driver admitting that there is a defect on the vehicle and they are willing to drive it. Okay, so obviously the defect checks can also be recorded via the various apps that are available. So you can, again, anything these days, especially compliance wise, there is a lot of things that you can do online, which is much simpler, and because there's less paperwork to deal with, and then you've got the records readily available wherever you are, really whenever you are able to log on. Okay, so and it's also important that the drivers know the person the defect was reported to. Okay, so if it's a small company, there is a director and a couple of drivers, then simply they just report it to the director, or if there is any other appointed person for that. Okay, and the defect needs to be rectified. Simple as that. You can't just record a defect and carry on with it. Okay, if it's not safety related, then like radio, for example, it's not really a safety matter. So the drivers will be very very happy to put that on there, but you don't need to rectify it straight away. It's not in the road. It doesn't make the vehicle illegal to drive. Okay, so obviously you need to have some basic understanding of what is a safety related matter and what's not. For that, it's also good to have someone who knows this stuff, as in being a transport manager or someone who's got experience and can tell you what's safety related defect and what's not. Okay, any defects that are rectified, are recorded on this vehicle check need to be obviously the repair needs to be recorded. Okay, and then again you keep that for 15 months, just as your vehicle is inspections. Okay, and what's also important is to have a look if you find that some safety related defects were identified on the vehicle check, on the vehicle inspection, but not identified by the driver, then that means that actually the drivers are not doing an extremely good job, because they've missed number of defects that could have been identified on their check. So that's your lights, mirrors, any windscreen damage, any tire defects. So if you've got a seriously underinflated tire at the inspection, or a tire below legal tread limit, and the driver didn't spot that, then that tells you a lot about the driver. Okay, so that's something an operator needs to be looking for as well. Okay. The next point is I'll jump across to the driver's hours. Okay, anything that's above any vehicle that's above 3.5 tons is likely to be in scope of EU driver's hours. That means tachograph. You need to use the tachograph to record the driving activities and working activities. It's not just the drivers being putting the card in when they drive, and then when they work they don't. They need to have the full record of the driving activities and working activities. Okay, so you need to be able to demonstrate daily rest, weekly rest, daily breaks. Okay, I'm not going to go into the driver's hours. All that information is available online. I'll probably do another video at some point on this as well. But what's important is that the drivers use the tachograph. Okay, there is still some analog charts tachograph with the actual paper chart available on the old vehicles, but these days most vehicles have got digital tachograph fitted. Okay, that simply requires a calibration, which is not expensive. Okay, it's not an expensive stuff to get the tacho calibrated. It needs to happen every 2 years on the digital tachographs, and again, that needs to be on your planner. You also need to have the company card, and you need to have a driver card for, obviously, so the drivers have these cards. The company card is for locking the company in, so that means you kind of put your own company signature on the tachograph that this is the vehicle is used for under your operation. Okay, so every time you get the vehicle in, a new vehicle, you put the company card in, and then that registers, right? Okay, that registers the company has taken over that vehicle. Okay, so, and then your drivers are using this vehicle. Okay, what the company card also does is it releases the data for the download. You need to download the tacho head. You need to have a device that downloads the tacho card, sorry, the tacho head, and also the device that downloads the tacho cards. Okay, so then you need to capture that data and then analyze it, and then give the drivers a report if they made any infringements. Okay, so if you operate under EU hours and then the drivers keep working 6 days a week, then you'll find that the tacho analysis is going to throw back a lot of infringements on that. So which can be very, very costly and cost you your operator license. Okay, so again, this is extremely important stuff. This is not good to have, it's an absolute bare minimum. You've got to be doing this stuff. Okay, so moving on, the tacho analysis, okay, you can, there's plenty of systems. Again, that's not an expensive thing it costs a few pounds to a week to actually operate, to download the tachograph, depending on how many vehicles or drivers you've got, and you've got to give the drivers reports and protect them basically from breaking the law, because the data stays on their card for a long time, and they can be prosecuted for even past offences. So it's not just what they've done today. If they failed to do to take weekly rest 2 weeks before, and that information is still there. Okay, so you know, and they can't hide from it. If they're ever being stopped, the authorities download the card, they're very likely to get a fine, and your company will get a prohibition as well that goes against your records. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so I'll capture that again: tachograph, okay, tacho card, company tacho card, download device, and tacho analysis system, okay, and then providing reports to the drivers. No point having a tacho analysis if you don't do anything with it. You know, the whole point of it is that you go leave feedback to the drivers, okay. For scaffold operations, because I remind you that this video is aimed at scaffold operators. If you operate a vehicle up to 7.5 ton, then there is an exemption from EU driver's hours for carrying your own tools and materials for your job. So if driving is not your main activity, okay, what I'm going to say about that is, okay, I know it's there, but make sure you're covered, okay. Make sure you ask someone before you start using this exemption, okay. The reason behind it is not it's not automatic, okay. It's you've got to meet this criteria, okay, and have that reviewed by someone who's experienced in the business, okay. You can't just automatically assume that, oh, I've got a 7.5 ton vehicle, so I'm exempt, okay. Example would be if you hire a driver and then you've got 3 sites that are working on a scaffold, and then you've just got one vehicle that runs between them sites. It's very hard to claim that this driver is carrying tools and equipment for his own work, because he's not working, he's just driving, okay. So simply that would not, I would find it very difficult to justify that under this exemption, okay. So what does exemption mean? It means essentially that you would be exempt from EU hours. Are you exempt from record keeping? Probably not. You need to check on that as well. And the best way is get them to use their DigiCard, okay. Every time they are in the vehicle, they start working and finish working. There is also manual entries. There is plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do manual entries. There's no excuse, okay. Regardless if you're exempt or not, use the DigiCard. It doesn't hurt, okay. Obviously for if you can claim exemption under EU hours, you fall under GB domestic hours regulations, okay, which again, it's not that you just run free, okay, without any regulations, okay. So just bear that in mind as well. Okay, I'll move on to the next topic, which is driving license checks, okay. Simple. Are you checking your driver's licenses? Okay, if they are not if they have points on their license, okay, you need to do it more frequently. First things first, do you know they've got right category for the vehicle that they drive? Okay, you may have some C1 drivers who got grandfather's rights, and then you decided to purchase a 12-ton vehicle. They will simply not be qualified to drive that vehicle, okay. So when you start, when you take someone on board, you do induction with them, make it part of the induction that you check their driving license, and then do it periodically as well. Absolute minimum is 6 months, okay. If you don't, if someone's got more points on their license, then do it more frequently, okay. It's if someone's got 9 points on their license, then that's a risk in itself, obviously. And make sure your insurance company is happy with that as well. I mean, I don't think they would be happy with that, but I think it's important to check if they would if they're going to accept it, basically. All right. So if they've got 9 points on their license, do it at least on a monthly basis. Do the checks. How you do it? You do it online again. Get the driver license code. Simply, if you get a driver at 7 a.m. in the morning, and then you first time you see that person, absolute minimum, check their license. How do you do it? Go online. If they got their phone, just ask them, can you give me the driver license check code, please? Okay. For them to do that, they need to have their national insurance number, driving license number, and their postcode. Okay. They simply log on to their online account with the driver license. They produce the code. You then take that code, take the driving license number from the driver, and then use that code. Bang, you've got a check done. Now you've seen their license, okay. I mean, you know, if you see someone, if you get someone on the first day, driving assessment wouldn't be out of place as well, to be honest. But the basics is to definitely check their license. Okay, don't just believe people that they say they've got a license, or they show you the plastic part, because they might have lost it. They might have it might have expired. The medical might have expired, you know, all sorts of things. So online is the accurate information. Okay, do it online, and then that gives you a PDF that you can save, download, and keep on your records to show to have that reference that you've actually checked the license. Okay, so that's about it, what I wanted to say. Obviously there is more operator license undertakings. Make sure you read them. Okay, read them today after you finish that video. Just have a look at your operator license there at the bottom, and then just answer yourself all these questions. Are you actually doing that? Okay, so hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. My name is Roman. This is a Fleet Planner video. Thank you very much. Bye.